Hey, wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. On a late or early Saturday morning, November 19th, 2022, just stayed up watching 5 hours, or make that 6 hours of pro wrestling action. And now in the morning, like I said, early Saturday, getting ready for AEW Full Gear tonight. But first, gonna talk about a few shows that took place on Friday night. WWE Friday Night Smackdown, AEW Rampage, and Impact Wrestling Overdrive, which I watched right after Smackdown and Rampage. Did not watch it live, but luckily I was able to avoid spoilers until I watched Overdrive, which had a very great night of pro wrestling, I thought. Overdrive was a very good show, but let's get into recapping these shows. Let's start with Friday Night Smackdown, and we start things off with the Brawling Brutes and Sheamus, Butch, and Ridge Holland, and they announce that Drew McIntyre will be on their team in the men's War Games match at Survivor Series. And they are interrupted by the honorary Uce, Sami Zayn. And our first match of the night, the SmackDown World Cup continues. Ricochet defeats Mustafa Ali. Really good match here, I thought. Is Ricochet going over to advance in the tournament? And then after the match, there is a show of respect with a fist bump between the two. In the back, we see Emma kind of give Madcap Moss a pep talk in the back, and he is in action next to take on Karrion Kross, of course, with Scarlett Bordeaux, even though they don't use the Bordeaux last name, Bordeaux, I should say. They don't use her last name in WWE, but Kross gets the win, defeating Madcap Moss, and then after the match, Emma comes in and checks up on him. And the number one contender for the SmackDown Women's Championship at the Survivor Series, Shotzi Blackheart, defeats Shayna Baszler, who had the SmackDown World Women's Champion in her corner, Ronda Rousey. They'll face off for that championship at the Survivor Series next week. 6-man tag team action is up next. The New Day and Braun Strowman, which reminds me, at the end of the show, I want to mention something involving Braun Strowman real quick. But I'll save that to the end of the show. The New Day and Braun Strowman defeat Imperium in that 6-man tag. And in the main event, it is Butch, the former Pete Dunne, defeating the honorary Uce, Sami Zayn, to advance in the SmackDown World Cup. So, overall, that was SmackDown for Friday night. Which I thought was a good show, actually. Not really great, but still a good show. Didn't really drag or anything. Kept up a pretty good pace, and had some good matches on it. And now we head over to TNT for a live episode this week of AEW Rampage from New Jersey. And we start things off just like Absolute Ricky Starks said about this match against Lance Archer, that he wanted it to start in the back, and that is exactly how it started. And Ricky Starks wearing a hockey jersey representing the hometown New Jersey Devils there in New York, and Starks picks up the win against Lance Archer. Good match here. Big fan of Ricky Starks. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. I think anyway that he's gonna be a big star in this business. Hook, the TNT champion, or FTW champion. Sorry about that mistake. Hook defeats Lee Moriarty. And in the main event, Takeshita and Motoyama defeat Eddie Kingston and Ortiz in a really good match. But it is as good as it would be like if it was a pay-per-view match and you're given more time. Maybe not, but still for a Rampage match, still very good. And that was Rampage. And also we found out on Rampage that there was a match added to 0 Hour at the pre-show, and tomorrow night AEW Full Gear, of course, being main evented by the AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley defending against MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And to be honest, if I have to make a prediction for this one, I'd have to say it might be MJF capturing the AEW World title in this one. But we'll just have to wait and see till tomorrow night. The Ring of Honor World Championship also on the line. The Ocho, Chris Jericho defending against Jericho Appreciation Society teammate Sammy Guevara, Claudio Castagnoli, and the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if that one steals the show. Very good match with those four in there. Hopefully, I'm not sure when, but I'm sure sometime this weekend we'll have a recap of Full Gear. But first though, we have one more show to talk about that took place tonight, and that is Impact Wrestling Overdrive, which was on Impact Plus, Fight TV, and YouTube for the Ultimate Insiders. Like I always talk about when I recap these Impact Plus specials from Impact Wrestling, it's just my opinion, but they never disappoint. Always very good, solid shows. And we start things off pretty big here, I thought, with the tables match. And it is Bully Ray defeating Moose. Good one. Bully Ray goes over, putting Moose through the table. And he still has the Collier Shot trophy to get a shot at the Impact World Championship. The Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships are on the line next. The Death Dolls, Jessica and Taya Valkyrie with Rosemary, defeat Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans. Mickie James, still on her last rodeo, defeats Taylor Wilde in a very good match here. Her career continues, and then we see the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo come out, challenge her to a match. Not sure if that's going to happen on Impact before January, or if they'll save that for Hard to Kill. Next up at Overdrive, the Impact World Tag Team Championships are on the line. Rhino and Heath defending against the major players, Matt Cardona and the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers. Good match here for the tag team titles. Rhino gets the pin on Myers. Rhino and Heath retain the Impact Tag Team Championships. I'm sure everybody has heard by now the rumors of not only Chelsea Green, but also her husband, Matt Cardona, may be returning to WWE. And I have seen a lot the last couple days or so, Cardona posting WWE pictures of his WWE career on Instagram back in the Zack Ryder days. So who knows if we'll see him return to WWE. The Impact Wrestling X Division Championship is now on the line. Trey Miguel taking on Black Taurus. The X Division Championship was vacated by Frankie Kazarian when he used option C to get the Impact World Championship shot against Josh Alexander. And this match, I was surprised by this one. Not that I thought it was going to be a bad match, but this one was better than I thought. Black Taurus, definitely a good performance in this one. Also, Trey Miguel, these two I thought worked really well together in this one. Is Trey Miguel becoming the new Impact X Division champion? Another championship matchup next, once again here at Overdrive. The Impact Knockouts Championship is on the line in a last knockout standing match. And we have Jordan Grace defending against Masha Slamovich, who these two had a great match last month at Bound for Glory. Jordan Grace retained, and these two, they definitely did not take it easy on each other. This was brutal. A lot of weapons, of course. And then to finish these, Jordan Grace set up a door at ringside, get set up for a muscle buster, and stand on the steel steps, and then hit the muscle buster on Slamovich through the door, and that was enough to keep Slamovich down for the 10 count. Jordan Grace still the Knockouts champion. Very good match here. These two put on a great match, I thought. And now it is time for the main event of the evening for the Impact Wrestling World Championship. The Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander, taking on Frankie Kazarian, which this match was built up very well. As I mentioned moments ago, Frankie Kazarian using option C, trading in the X Division Championship for this title shot. And like I talked about, the really good video package we seen a couple weeks ago on Impact Wrestling, discussing Frankie Kazarian's career in Impact Wrestling back to the TNA days with the X Division, his feuds with Michael Shane, AJ Styles, Chris Sabin, his team with Michael Shane, and of course with Christopher Daniels, and this match was fantastic. About 40 minutes. Didn't time any of the matches tonight, unfortunately. I probably should have, but this was a fantastic main event. And in the end, we see Josh Alexander successfully defend the Impact World Championship against Frankie Kazarian. And definitely just a great main event. And if you missed it tonight, definitely you gotta check it out. Definitely worth checking out. And then post-match, Frankie Kazarian, of course, looking very upset and frustrated and disappointed in himself for not winning the big one, for losing this championship match against Josh Alexander. But then we see a show of respect between these two great wrestlers. Josh Alexander standing tall with the Impact World Championship. But then we hear the music of Bully Ray, who has the Call Your Shot trophy in hand. He comes out, he asks for the microphone, and he says he's going to do like he said he would do. He would look Josh Alexander in the eye, shake his hand, and tell him when he will be cashing that in and calling his shot for that world title match. And Josh Alexander shakes Bully Ray's hand, accepting the challenge at January 13th, Friday the 13th, Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill on pay-per-view. It'll be Bully Ray challenging Josh Alexander for the Impact World Championship. Looks like Bully Ray being a good guy here, a stand-up competitor. But then Bully Ray attacks Josh Alexander with a steel chair and goes to the ringside area right in front of Alexander's wife, continues to beat him with the chair, gets a zip tie, ties Alexander to the bottom rope, and then grabs Jade, Alexander's wife, and teases pile driving her on the concrete, and then has Alexander get the title and toss it over or hand it over to Bully Ray, because I missed something real quick. Just before that, Alexander was able to break the zip tie and get free, and he handed the world title to Bully Ray. And then Bully Ray once again threatening to hit Jade with the chair, and Bully Ray did a great job tonight. He was definitely, you could pretty much say, the ultimate heel in this one. Looked like he was going to do the right thing. He did shake Alexander's hand and then challenged him to Hard to Kill in January, but then attacked him with the chair, almost gave his wife a pile driver on the concrete floor. So definitely interested in seeing this build up for the world title match, which will main event Hard to Kill January 13th, which is Friday the 13th. Hard to Kill on pay-per-view. And that was Overdrive. Very good show. Once again, I definitely recommend it. If you're not able to see it, you can order the replay on Fight, or I'm sure YouTube if you're subscribed to the Ultimate Insiders thing, and then, or Impact Plus, if you subscribe, you can watch the replay at any time. Very good show. And that was all the pro wrestling I watched on Friday night going into Saturday morning. And like I said, tonight Saturday, November 19th, we have AEW Full Gear. I hope to have a recap of that coming up right here on 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hope everyone else enjoyed the pro wrestling that took place tonight and Full Gear tomorrow. And remember, if you have any comments or suggestions, 360 Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com. And like I said earlier, there was something I wanted to talk about real quick. I almost forgot. But yes, it involves somebody I mentioned that was on Smackdown tonight. And I just want to know if anyone else watched Days of Our Lives on Friday on Peacock. And the part when Steve and Kayla are going to the one bar to find Tripp, the bartender, maybe it's just me, who knows, but looks a lot like Braun Strowman. So maybe if you saw Days of Our Lives on Friday on Peacock, maybe it is. I'm not quite, don't know 100% for sure if it is Braun Strowman, but looked like him. And let me know at 360 Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com, or leave a comment if on Spreaker. I don't know if Spreaker even, did they have a comment section? They might, but if you listen to on another site or YouTube version of the podcast, leave a comment if you saw it. So that's this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Thank you very much for listening. And until the next episode, I am Lance and I am a wrestling fanatic.